Hey guys, we're going to be reacting to the Yarn Hub's Harry Houdini episode. So let's get started.
It's Halloween in 1936
Now
on
you
top
have to
of the
charge your mouse,
Knickerbocker
it's low
Hotel
on
in
battery.
Hollywood, and a strange seance is taking place. Harry Houdini swore a pact with his wife Bess that if he died before her, he would get a message back from beyond the veil of death. He's not managed it so far, but will this year be the one that the man that no earthly bond could hold will be able to make his most incredible escape? Harry Houdini was born in Budapest, Hungary on March 24, 1874.
Little guy.
His
Girl,
parents
get
named
out of
him
there.
Eric Weiss. In 1878, the family moved to the US, coming in through Ellis Island, and lived in Appleton, Wisconsin, where his father served for a time as a rabbi. The rabbi lost his job in 1882,
Oh, man, what
and the
happened?
family eventually settled in New York. Young Eric is one of 7 children, and the family lived in poverty. To help with the family finances, at the age of just 9 years old, Eric started his show business career by performing as a trapeze artist, billed as Eric, Prince of the Air. As a young man, Eric was quite the sportsman. He was a cross-country runner and an accomplished swimmer, and could hold his breath underwater for an extraordinary amount of time. He also learned
there's
to
a
be
cat.
extremely flexible and gave demonstrations as a contortionist, and was so dexterous with his toes, he could use them like fingers and even pinch you with his feet. He started working in a tie factory as a cutter, but at the age of 17, gave it up. He named himself Harry Houdini after the French illusionist Houdin, and decided to become an illusionist. He wasn't particularly successful. He performed
Until I
in
started
dime
doing
museums performing traditional
escape
card
artist
tricks,
stuff.
and was regarded as having adequate skills, but without finesse. Houdini struggled and took several side jobs. He even performed as Progia, the wild man of Mexico,
What?
where he was locked in a cage and growled as trainers threw raw slabs of meat into the cage to be devoured by
Yeah, that's
Progia.
some early
He
1900s
met
shit.
his wife Bess when he was 19. Bess was working as a dancer at Coney Island and had started dating Harry's brother Theo. However, she liked Harry, and they were married within just 1 week of meeting. Harry was devoted to the women in his life, his wife Bess and his mother Cecilia, who he called my 2 sweethearts.
Aww,
Bess
that's
became
nice.
Harry's assistant on stage, and they toured together. They started to perform one of their signature acts, Metamorphosis, exchanging places in 3 seconds, which had been invented by Harry. Houdini would
Cool.
be tied at the hands and then put in a sack, which was also tied and then locked in a trunk. Bess would push the trunk behind a curtain and clap her hands 3 times, at which point Houdini would magically appear. He would then unlock the trunk and Bess would be bound inside. Even with this amazing trick, the press called the act satisfactory and interesting. January 1899
Really?
was possibly the lowest point of his career. He was working a low-end dime museum in Chicago. He said that he would escape from any handcuffs
Cool.
or pay $50. He had already removed 6 pairs of handcuffs when the local police sergeant turned up with his own handcuffs. Houdini tried for 20 minutes in vain to remove them. They had, of course, been specially rigged by the sergeant
Really?
and had to be removed by a hammer. The next day, the headline of the local paper read,
Asshole.
"Handcuffs resist magic." From that point on, Houdini always checked the cuffs as a part of the performance. Houdini's big break came just 2 months later, when he was spotted by show business manager Martin Beck. He was impressed and told Houdini to concentrate on escape acts. In a few
Yep,
months,
and he
Houdini was
did.
playing the top vaudeville theaters in the United States. Beck arranged for Houdini to tour Europe, and Harry and Bess boarded a boat to England. With no bookings when he arrived, and no reputation in England, Houdini went to Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard was the police headquarters and arguably the most secure place in England. There he gave many demonstrations of his incredible ability to escape handcuffs, baffling the police, creating headlines and earning him 6 months of bookings. He went on to tour Europe. Wherever he went, he challenged the police to restrain him. He would have all his clothes removed and be searched beforehand.
Why am I
In
wearing
Moscow,
onions?
he escaped from a prison transport van destined for Siberia. In Germany,
Sweet.
he sued a police officer that had spread the rumor that he only managed to escape because he was bribing his captors. In an extraordinary feat of showmanship, Houdini won the case by successfully opening the judge's safe. He returned to the US in 1904, a very wealthy
Play
man,
judge.
and presented his mother with a dress that had been made for Queen Victoria. He later said it was the happiest day of his life.
That was nice.
He became famous as the man that no earthly bond could hold. He escaped from anything anyone could think of. Some of the stranger ones included a man-sized football, a
What?
man-sized sausage skin,
What?
and a dead sea monster. He became internationally
Ew.
famous and was one of the A-list celebrities of his time. In 1919, Houdini wowed and amazed New Yorkers with a 19-week booking at the Hippodrome Theatre by making an elephant disappear in front of 5,000 people at a time. The elephant, named Jenny, was led into a large cabinet, which was closed up after Jenny had made her way in. The cabinet was then turned towards the audience. When the cabinet doors were opened at the front and back,
Where's the
was
elephant?
gone. No one can be quite sure how the vanishing elephant trick was done, and the apparatus nor any photos of his equipment for the
What?
performance has ever been found. The vanishing elephant remains one of Houdini's most mysterious and tricks. In 1920, he traveled back to the United Kingdom and made friends with the famous author of Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Conan Doyle was a great believer in spiritualism and thoroughly believed that Houdini had supernatural powers. In 1922, Sir Conan Doyle and his wife, Lady Doyle, traveled to the US. While in Atlantic City, Lady Doyle, who believed she was a medium and could receive messages from
This is
beyond the
gonna
grave,
be a friendship
gave
ender.
Houdini a seance. With the help of Phineas, her spirit guide, she made contact with Houdini's mother, who had died 9 years earlier.
Dude.
Automatic writing several pages of text, the Doyles were sure that Houdini was emotionally moved by the whole experience.
Yeah, but not the way you
However, afterwards,
want.
Houdini publicly announced that he did not believe that the 15 pages of perfect English text from the seance were genuine. Not least because his mother was not a very good English speaker in life. Also, his Jewish mother was very unlikely to make the sign of the cross. Houdini's skepticism cost him his friendship with Conan Doyle,
Yeah.
who remained a committed spiritualist throughout his life. Following this incident, Houdini went on a mission to expose mediums as fakes. He, along with Scientific American, offered a $10,000 reward to any medium that could genuinely prove the ability to communicate with the spirits of the dead. There were many attempts, which we'll cover in another video, though no one could perform anything supernatural that Houdini could not reproduce through his skill as an illusionist. One famous medium, Mina Crandon, who was known as Margie, allegedly tried more intimate means to gain favor from Houdini to validate her claims as a medium, but Houdini said, "Her applesauce means nothing to me."
What?
On October the 22nd,
What the fuck
1926,
does that mean?
Houdini was resting in his dressing room in the Princess Theatre in Montreal. Two students came to visit. One asked if he could indeed withstand any blow to the abdomen.
I'm gonna have to.
When Houdini replied, yes, he could,
Oh,
one of
man.
his students, J. Gordon Whitehead, immediately hit Houdini 4 times in the stomach before Houdini had a chance to prepare himself.
Oh no.
Houdini winced on each blow. The next 2 days, he continued to perform, though in great pain, but he refused to seek medical help. On the
Dude.
3rd day, he visited a doctor who diagnosed acute appendicitis.
It wasn't that cute.
That night, Harry performed and collapsed on stage. Bess implored him to go to hospital. He relented and his appendix was removed, but it had already ruptured.
He was fucking
The doctors gave
septic.
him 2 days, but he clung on for a week. Finally, he said, "I'm tired of fighting. I do not want to fight anymore." And the great Houdini died on October the 31st, Halloween. He was buried in New York on a pillow of his mother's letters, with more than 2,000 people in attendance. Houdini had agreed with Bess that if at all possible, he would communicate the words, "Rosabelle believe," after his death. Rosabelle was their favorite.
Okay, I know they keep doing the Houdini seance, but now everyone knows the code word. You can't take any of the seances seriously now that everyone knows the code word.
So, his wife held a seance every year for 10 years, waiting to hear the words, "Rosabelle believe." This was to be the last seance on the roof of the Knickerbocker Hotel, and it was transmitted on a radio broadcast. When midnight had passed, the seance ended. Bess put out the candle that she had kept burning next to a photograph of Houdini for the last 10 years and said, "My last hope is gone." Once the transmission ended, and only in the immediate vicinity of the hotel, there was a violent thunderstorm that drenched the seance attendees. Many still believe that this was the great Houdini fulfilling his last and greatest escape.
Nah, I think it was just the weather. So yeah, that was like the thing on Harry Houdini. That's not the right thing to press. Okay, I will see you guys in the next one.